Welcome to today's show, Legacy Living, Make Your Life Count. I'm your host, Dr. Gloria Burgess, passionate, inspirational speaker, author, poet, and entrepreneur. Welcome to Legacy Living, Make Your Life Count. I want to give a great big thank you to those of you who are listening today, and here's a great big shout out to all of you listening around the world. I'm delighted and so grateful that you tuned in. I sure hope you're enjoying a fabulous day today and that you're having a fantastic week, because you know what? In the grand song of the universe, life is very, very short. It's short and sweet and oh so precious. So I hope you're making a difference in your own life, because when you do, you also make a difference in someone else's life. Now, a lot of folks want to make their life count for something, and they ask me, how do you do that? Well, it's really very simple. Very simple. You make your life count day by day, step by step, moment by moment, every single day, 365, 24/7. That's what Legacy Living, Make Your Life Count is all about. You can learn more about Legacy Living, Make Your Life Count by visiting the Gloria Burgess website. That's Gloria, B as in boy, URGESS.com. That's the Gloria Burgess website, GloriaBurgess.com, or by visiting Facebook. And that's facebook.com/DR for Doctor, DrGloriaBurgessPhD/. So today, I want to talk with you about leadership, a topic that's near and dear to my heart. Specifically, we're going to focus on women's leadership and forming your own identity as a leader. In other words, today's show is all about asking yourself two very important questions. The first question is, who am I? And the second question is, whose am I? So who am I and whose am I as a leader? Now, to help us address those burning questions, I have a very special guest on my show today. Her name is Melanie Cremona. She is a person of influence, and she is very, very inspiring. Now, Melanie is a leader who makes a difference in her own life and in the lives of so many others throughout the world through her work with the United Nations. She works at the UN's Institute for Training and Research, which is called UNITAR for short. At UNITAR, she heads up the Women's Leadership Program. I met Melanie last fall. We were both attending a women's leadership conference in Stockholm, Sweden. And when I heard her speak about her work, she was positively supercharged about it. So to simply say that she's interested in her work would definitely be an understatement. This young woman is truly passionate about her work. And I must say she is most definitely a woman with a mission. She is on fire to change the world, and in particular, to change the world for women leaders. When you hear her story, you'll learn why she's so passionate about making a difference, about changing the world in this way. I was struck by her passion, but this is just one of the many wonderful qualities that drew me to her, and I should say that drew me and all the other women to Melanie at this conference and to her work. Indeed, we were blessed to have her there as one of our honored mentors. Melanie is 23 years old, and she describes herself as a Lebanese Greek expat. Her work at UNITAR is focused on women and women's leadership. Her specific mission is to strengthen women's participation in multilateral conferences and decision-making forums. She's also in charge of organizing high-level events with prominent leaders and personalities, including Nobel Prize winners. Melanie attended the University of Paris 7 and the University of Copenhagen, obtaining her degree in sociology and anthropology. She also obtained the International Diploma in Humanitarian Assistance from Fordham University. Melanie says that she's always dreamed about making a meaningful impact in the world and often likes to question conventional norms. Well, during my conversation with her, you will hear more about her dream. You'll also hear about how she was shaped and formed as a leader, all with a particular focus of serving other leaders. You know, in many ways, Melanie's outlook on life and in her work pulls together the many threads of what my own life and work are all about. You've heard me talk about some of these threads and themes on this show, the themes of gratitude, authenticity, generosity, strength, passion, presence, hope, and possibility. I just love it. Two women, Melanie and me, from very different backgrounds, very different cultures, very different in age and lifestyle, and yet so many common threads. Can I just tell you something? We had a fabulous conversation, and I'm so excited to have this amazing leader with us today. This is going to be a fabulous show. You don't want to miss a single word of it. So, put on your walking shoes, grab your earbuds, or just relax in your favorite chair and grab yourself a cup of coffee or tea or a nice, cool glass of water. You're going to want to take notes today. We're going to have a good time. But before I jump into today's show, I just want to take a moment to welcome you. If you're just joining us, I'm your host, Dr. Gloria, and this is Legacy Living, Make Your Life Count. I'd like to extend a special welcome to those of you who are joining my show, or if you're joining Talk Network Radio for the very first time. You're in for a real treat. I'm excited to have you listening in today, and I'm deeply honored that you've allowed me to be part of your day so you can be inspired by the ideas and resources to make your life count. Today's program is all about women's leadership and developing your own identity as a leader with my guest, Melanie Cremona. Welcome to the show, Melanie. I'm so glad that you're here, and I can't wait to talk with you about your passion for women's leadership.
Thank you very much, Gloria. It's such an honor for me to be with you, and thank you very much for giving me this opportunity and for taking the time as well, because we're both talking from different countries, so it's such a pleasure as well. Thank you so much.
Yes, this is really a blessing for me, and I know it's going to be a blessing for our listeners. Melanie, I want to begin by asking you, when I met you, you were just so passionate about what you were doing, and the way that we met was through a women's leadership conference. And I'm just wondering, what made you realize you were so passionate about social problems, including women's rights, gender equality, and women's leadership?
Well, yes. I mean, I must say that from a young age, I realized I had a very strong empathy towards people in need of help. And I always felt very sensitive and would always make people's problems my own problems. I must say it was a blessing and a curse at the same time, because it developed a sense of guilt and purpose in me and a need to feel useful and to contribute something to our society. So I was passionate about philosophy, sociology, about the way society can affect a person's life. And this was the reason why I decided to pursue a degree in sociology. And during my degree, I had to take a gender and sexist course, which was mandatory. And I was very skeptical and a bit weirded out about it, because I was a firm believer at the time that there was no need to work on feminism, and I was very judgmental, so I believed that anyone who wanted to be equal to men clearly lacked a lot of ambition. So I realized I was really stubborn as well during my degree, and I learned so many things that brought me back down to earth. So many things really made more sense as well around my identity as a woman, and I started understanding how my Lebanese background play a major role in shaping my identity as a woman, and how badly feminism was needed in our society. Especially coming from a Middle Eastern country where it's true that compared to other Arabic countries, women might have a bit more rights, but there are still so many loopholes in the law and so many issues that no one talks about. I also had the chance to do an exchange in Copenhagen for 1 year, and at the time, the prime minister was a female, and there is also the queen who plays an important role in the society there. So all these things opened up my eyes and made me realize I was really passionate about gender issues, and really made me want to work for the UN and do something about all these problems.
Well, thank you. That's quite a background that you have there, Melanie. Thank you for sharing that with us. Can you talk with us a little bit about some of the challenges that you faced as a woman? You mentioned your Lebanese background, and how did your background shape your identity in that perspective?
So, yeah, I grew up in a society where, paradoxically, you can find many women holding leadership positions in the workplace and being very equal to men. And yet there are still many, many loopholes and paradoxes. So if I can give you an examples, women can get loans for plastic surgery. In religion, the age for marriage is still 9. And in the law, men can rape women as long as they marry them afterwards. Also, women are not able to give their nationality to their children. And there's no clear distinction between sex and rape during marriage because a wife needs to fulfill her duties. And religion and patriarchal norms still persist. So let's say there is still a lot of patriarchal problems and issues towards gender equality and respect for women, which makes things really difficult to understand. And given these facts, it has become very difficult to find my identity because women are over-sexualized, but at the same time, if they are sexually liberated and free, they still face a lot of judgment. And I grew up myself being a tomboy, and I still struggle to this day to be very feminine. This means that I was often asked why I was wearing men's clothes, or didn't wear enough jewelry or makeup, or that I should probably find a husband instead of working and focusing on my own growth. So I have listened to a lot of women while growing up being beaten by their husbands, raped, or forced to abort. I've listened to women who were scared to talk about their relationships, or to this day are still very much afraid to talk about sex, relationships, or anything related to it, simply because it is taboo.
Yes.
So these perceptions of how women should be and behave were the main challenges I faced, and it's only when I was able to travel and educate myself that I became more comfortable with my femininity and to become a tomboy without worrying about it. So I still face some comments from time to time, even about the fact that I consider myself a feminist. But it affects me less and less. And I also do feel bad for many of my friends in Lebanon and in other countries where the rights of women are oppressed, where women are oppressed, who still struggle to be free women and liberated women. So nowadays, I do feel a bit more comfortable to be directly involved in contributing to the enhancement of women's leadership. But and the fact that being given the chance to work on the Women's Leadership Program was a blessing that came into my life at the right time and at the right moment. But the challenge I face as well is seeing all these women still struggling, I must say.
Yeah, well, thank you. That's amazing. The many contradictions and what you call paradoxes in your culture. And I think you actually speak for many women around the world. Melanie, I get to travel and speak in, various countries, and although, on the surface it seems one way, when you just go like 1 or 2 layers deep, you find all of these paradoxes in these various places elsewhere. So thank you for addressing that and for naming those things. I appreciate it. Let me ask you, in your opinion, what are some of the challenges that women face